Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé, Tania and Syngin. Let's watch.
I hated going underground 2.7 kilometers in a steel cage with a lamp and rescue pack, and I had friends who died and work colleagues and everything. So it's very little money. It's not worth risking your life every single day.
Like, I just think that has made me the sensitive like I am now, you know?
All right, so we're learning from him that he had a job in a mine for 7 years, and it was rough. People died underground for not a lot of pay. Could have been traumatic for him. At the very least, it was a template for what to avoid. And now he's saying he doesn't want to work for anyone now. Maybe he's overshooting, he's overcompensating. And Tania is like, well, you know, self-employment isn't very easy, and so it'd be easier if you just got a job somewhere else. So let's see how they manage this conversation.
That was so long ago, though.
Well, like, it still sticks with you.
I know.
If something happened to you in childhood, it's still carrying on when you're 50 years old.
It's just frustrating.
I understand it, but I'm just sharing you who I am in my mind and how it is.
On arriving to America, it kind of feels to me like a new slate in life, you know? So I'm looking at all kinds of crazy.
And this doesn't play in well to her potential overfunctioning and codependency. I don't know if she suffers from that. I'd have to talk with her. But this is kind of a classic underfunctioning presentation. It's not the only presentation, but one of the classic underfunctioning presentations is to have an immature mindset when it comes to a career that results in never really having a career, where you have this idealized version of your perfect job and you keep searching, you keep thinking you're going to attain it, and never actually do anything with your life, while making someone else pick up your around you, you know, earn all the money and adjust around the fact that you're not being a responsible adult. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. Maybe he's just kind of at the beginning of this search phase of it. Maybe he's just sort of, you know, it's illegal for him to work at this point in the United States. So maybe he just kind of has fanciful thinking and plans at this point. And maybe when the reality kicks in, he'll actually start being more realistic about his career. But I want to point out that from the beginning, we've been seeing overfunctioning from Tania. Not so much lately. I don't know if they're just excising it or what, but we haven't seen her overfunction for a while now. It's for a number of weeks. So maybe it was just a temporary thing. I don't know. But if she does have that tendency, for him to be like this would really kind of lock in that overfunctioning, underfunctioning.
I'm just more worried about how long that's going to take.
Yeah, who knows? Because I kind of got to wait so long before I even get the work permit.
I know, but you can start studying for one of them. There's things you can do while you're waiting for the work permit.
Yeah, I know.
You can bartend for a little bit.
So this is good for Tania. We're not seeing an overfunctioning push from her. She is, I mean, it's a little overfunctioning, but she's not, the tone didn't seem to be talking down to him was the thing, the way that she was earlier. But so maybe they've turned a corner and she's not doing that anymore.
Yeah, that I don't mind. I know I have to do that. I'm just talking about in general, like I hate being in the work system.
I just wish you'd figure it out. It's
about what? Like I'm gonna work. I'm gonna get a steady job, even though I know I'm gonna be in a system. I'm gonna take the system.
So it's starting to head into that overfunctioning place. A more differentiated, healthy way for her to talk is, honey, you're obviously free to do what you want to with your career, but when you talk this way, I'll just tell you, it kind of scares me into thinking that you're going to have too much of an idealized version in your mind about what your career is going to be, and you'll never get something off the ground. I don't know if that's true or not, but it would make me much less anxious if you had a more down-to-earth, at least initially, career path. Like you were gonna, you know, because the kinds of things you're talking about, there's a lot of training. You might not even be, you know, to be a police officer, you have to be accepted into into the police academy, into the police force, and that you might not get accepted. You know, it's not like just this automatic thing. Whereas there are other jobs that are kind of automatic. There are jobs that are pretty easy to get, and I would just be much less anxious because I need both of us to be contributing to the money situation because I want to move forward in our lives, and we want to have kids, and they're expensive. So you're free to do what you want, of course, but you're just kind of scaring me. There's a chance that he just likes to fantasize. You know, he's like, I want to do this. You know, I'm moving to a new country. There's more opportunities here. I don't have to work in the mines anymore. And so, you know, I'm thinking about like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And we don't know what he's going to do when the time comes, really.
Are you just too young for me? I want like an adult next to me too.
Well, I am. Also a very free spirit. Like I sometimes don't even worry about the future.
Right. So I think this is going to trigger her overfunctioning, codependency, and anxiety underneath all that. So he's saying, I am an adult, but I'm also a free spirit, which is fine. And, you know, they might have to adjust on this. They adjusted pretty well with his preoccupied, demands. So maybe they can adjust here, but they haven't historically. Because the point is that he can be a free spirit. He can say, I like to take things as they come. I don't like to plan for the future. That's okay. She is a planner. And so how do they work together on that without causing the other person too much trouble and without accusing the other person of being stupid?
Why are you being like this right now? It's too much. I don't have time for this.
You just don't care about it. Like you already said, you don't care about the future.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Not at all. Let's just see what the universe does.
That's literally what you do.
Yeah, let's do it. Sounds game to me.
I'm not doing it.
Like, what is the problem right now?
So I think they've crossed a line into, not constructive, destructive communication where they're just, taking shots at each other. He's basically being sarcastic and she's aggravated. So I think in her mind, she's being triggered by signs of irresponsibility, and it scares her, which, is scary to anyone if they want to have kids, have a family. But what do you do with that fear? And she's starting to go to kind of that black and white thinking, like he's a complete idiot and he's never going to be responsible. And he is, trying to adjust, but then eventually I think, so this is actually kind of a bad sign because previous to this, he would just stand tall and say, look, you're just going to have to trust me. I don't know why you think I'm an idiot. Now he's starting to get sarcastic. This is a sign that his patience is starting to erode regarding this issue.
Like, you could just done a woodworking course over these past couple of weeks.
I'm gonna stop lingering on the past. Like,
I'm pissed that
bringing up the
I'm pissed that I went to go learn and I told you to go learn your woodworking.
Okay.
I told you to do woodworking.
So let's just analyze. Now, I think they crossed the line a while ago and triggering each other. But she's telling him what he needs to do with his career. Like, I told you need to learn about woodworking. Now, I get where she's coming from. She's like, I need you to pull your weight as an adult, money-wise. And I don't see any signs that that's going to work out because I don't see you, like, scrambling. If I were in your shoes, I'd be, like, studying and networking and stuff. You're not doing anything, which scares me. And so she needs to recognize he's a different person and he's free to do what he wants to. She can have her feelings. She's entitled to that, but she can just share those feelings. She can't tell him what to do. But because of her anxiety, which is normal, but her habitual way of overfunctioning and controlling is starting to kick in. I told you, the way a mom would to a 17-year-old son, I told you were going to get a job, and, that kind of attitude.
$800 for
And
1 week.
I don't care.
No, you do care.
You
'cause
could
you're
have
worried
been
about
doing
money.
things and making
We don't even have
things.
money now. Where were you going to on $800? Like, when the time is right, when we have the money.
I'm telling you, though, I don't have much more time.
Okay, if you don't stop screaming now like
No,
this.
because
and
it
just
is,
being
Syngin, because you don't.
so-
So this is concerning. She's starting to literally scream. I will say that $800 for 1 week of woodworking is does sound expensive. Plus, like, how much could you possibly learn in 1 week? Unless he already knows a lot of stuff. Anyway, but yeah, this is worrisome. So, and I think, so he's saying, hey, I need you to stop screaming. Hopefully, he can remain differentiated and just be like, hey, but I'm worried he's gonna lay into her here.
Lies,
you
I can't do
over and
this.
over, like, what I mean.
Cannot do this right now.
And don't say I'm not civilized. Don't say that. I'm getting
Stop.
to the edge.
Just say it. Say just jump over it. Do what you want to do.
It's just so interesting, you know. People often will be ashamed in couples will be ashamed. They'll be like, we don't really fight about. We're not really fighting about anything. We just fight about the dumbest stuff. And I'm here to tell you that 99% of fights are about the dumbest stuff. This is about a dumb thing. He's saying, trust me, I can't work right now, but I will get a job, but just lay off. Trust me. I worked for 7 years at a job in South Africa. I'll get a job, I want to work. Trust me. And, but he's not saying that. It would help if he said something along those lines. Instead, he's like, I'm a free spirit. I'm going to do what I want, which is triggering to her. And for her, she, what is she upset about? She's upset about some future that is in her head that is not necessarily going to happen. I mean, she knows the situation better than I would, but from what I've seen, there's no indication that he's going to be a complete deadbeat when the time comes for him to be able to get a job. So she's right now just absolutely screaming because in her head, he will never get a job. But we don't know that yet. Now, maybe he won't, and maybe I'll know because this, you've watched ahead. You've seen what happens. But at this point, there's no way that would be a for sure thing.
Tanya?
If jumping over means leaving you the behind.
Then go.
So if you want me to jump over, I'll do
Behind.
it.
You might just.
Yes, I will, Syngin.
Oh my God, you crazy!
So, yeah, he's starting to. So normally, before when she would get into these modes, he would stay relatively calm and just say, hey, when you're this way with me, it bothers me. It makes me feel this way and that. I think his patience is running thin, or their relationship is starting to downward spiral. And so as she gets triggered, he's starting to become exasperated, which isn't a good sign.
I'm getting
Stop.
to the edge.
Just say it. Say just jump over it. Do what you want to do.
Syngin,
Tanya?
if jumping over means leaving you the behind.
Then go.
So if you want me to jump over, I'll do
Behind.
it.
You might just.
Yes, I will, Syngin.
Oh my God!
So she's threatening to leave him. Why? Like what's the, again, it's that anxiety. It's the terror of irresponsibility. It's the terror of someone dragging you down. I'm guessing she has traumas about men or people that she's close to dragging her down and being irresponsible, where she has to do everything for them, and she doesn't want to do that anymore. And that's good. And she is distorting the future to fit what her fear is. It's like you're about to go on a hot air balloon ride, for example, and you're terrified that you're going to fall off and die. I will tell you that I've been on hot air balloon rides. It's kind of terrifying. I mean, the thing moves very slowly, but there's no seatbelts. You're just standing in this tiny little bucket. I mean, it's a big bucket, but it's a bucket. And the wall comes up to here, and it feels like you could just topple over and fall like 100 stories to your death. But anyway, so if you had that fear and you were 100% convinced that you were going to fall out of the thing, that's distorting the future. You have a fear of falling out, but the chance of you falling out of a hot air balloon isn't very high. I guess it's there, but to be 100% sure that that's going to happen, she is worried, which makes total sense, that he's going to be a flake and irresponsible, and there are signs that he might be, but she's absolutely sure that's going to happen, and she's already angry at him because of that distortion, which is obviously to him, he's like, where is this coming from?
You crazy?
I don't think you take me seriously at all. I've been so lenient with you.
That's over-functioning codependent language. I've been lenient with you. Lenient. If my wife said that to me, I've been lenient with you, like exasperated that way, like, oh, I've just been so lenient with you. I'd be like, what? Like, you've been lenient with me? Like I'm a child? Like, yikes. So it's just, there's just more signs of an over-functioning tendency or a codependent personality. It's not that she doesn't wake up in the morning and want to be that way. It's born out of socialization. When you're young, you're forced into that role, and massive amounts of anxiety. And the way that you learned how to deal with that is through control and to overpower and say, you will do what I tell you to do.
I'm just letting you know because I feel like I have.
Just stop.
No, I want to make sure you hear me.
Yes, I hear you so
Syngin.
bad I want to jump out the window.
Syngin, stop saying things like that.
It'll be a long drive,
It is a long drive.
especially if you're yapping like this the whole time.
Not a good sign. They crossed the line into destructive conversation a long time ago, and they just keep bickering at each other. This doesn't do wonders for one's love for each other.
Syngin, I'll drop you off on the side of the road.
Oh, it doesn't sound too bad.
Wow. I mean, you hear the parental tone, right? That's literally something. Just imagine your spouse saying that to you because you're, having an argument and you're not giving into their control. Like he's like, I told you would take that class. And he's like, I didn't want to do it or whatever. And she's like, I'm going to pull over and I'm going to leave you on the side of the road. Wow. It's interesting.
Please don't tempt me.
Oh,
No
please
problem
stop
doing
being
it
so
to you.
hard-headed, man. Get over it.
Get over it. I'm not feeling heard, so this is what happens.
You're not feeling heard because you're attacking and controlling and putting him down and telling him what to do. If you want to be heard, identify your feelings, which I'm guessing are, I am scared by your free spirit thing. Your free spirit thing terrifies me because I'm worried that you're either going to be a flake or it's going to take you a really long time to get your career going, and I'm going to be carrying all the weight, and I want to have kids soon. And if you are going to be flaking the whole time, it's going to really throw everything off. And I would feel much better if you could convince me right now that you had a solid, top 10 career paths and some, and if your dream ones don't work out, you have a fallback plan. You seem all over the place. You're like, and no offense, but you have some like childish ways of thinking. Like you want to be a police officer or a fireman, or like you just have these, like, is it astronaut or I'd probably excise that last part out. But the way you talk, it doesn't. It sounds like you have a lot of different plans, but none of them have really solidified in your brain. It just seems like you're not giving it much thought, which is totally your right because you're a grown man and you can decide what you want to do with your life. But it scares me. If she said that, I think he would hear that. But to bark at him and yell at him and to tell him what to do, yeah, he's not going to hear that. And if he did, you wouldn't want that person. You don't want someone who wants to be your child.
You never feel heard, even if you heard. You
I'm not.
You don't have this problem just as me. You have this problem with society. You feel like they never listen or hear you. So it's not just me.
Interesting. So I don't know what he's referring to there, but he might be referring to observations that she will do this with other people, and that she frequently has this phrase of, I don't feel heard. So if my hypothesis is correct, which I have no idea if it is, parentified people, over-functioning codependent people, often when they were young, were neglected emotionally. they were told, and we learned, according to her, that she took care of her younger sister. That's the only thing that I heard that indicates any kind of parentification. I don't even know if it was, pathological taking care of the younger kid. But if she were parentified, that's breeding ground for codependency. And you are not heard. You're 10 years old and you reach out to people that, like, I don't want to have to take care of my younger sister. I don't want to have to grow up too fast. I just want to be a kid. And I have needs, I have 10-year-old needs, and no one is there for you. And you just learn, wow, I don't matter. I don't feel heard. You have this schema of no one hears me. No one cares. Then you also have this need to parentify, and to talk down to people, and so you're doing that. They're rejecting you, and again, you don't feel heard. But you're creating that situation yourself at this point. And when you were a kid, it was happening at you. As an adult, you're creating it.
My emotions are high. It was stressful it was so stressful. I'm sorry. I want to be serious with my future moving forward, and I'm scared that you just won't be as serious with me.
Okay. I did not expect that, but that was great. I have chills. Tania, so proud. I'm sorry. I'm scared. It lasts a little bit, but on the scale of things, even, for her, it's great. Let's rewind that. So I'm scared, the fact that you don't take it as seriously as I do. Okay, there's another way to word that, and I role played that earlier, but this is great. I'm sorry. It'd be even better if she said, I'm sorry for yelling. I'm sorry for barking at you. I'm sorry for assuming that you're irresponsible. I'm sorry for saying that thing I said, but this is great, that she said that.
It was so stressful. I'm sorry. I want to be serious with my future moving forward, and I'm scared that you just won't be as serious with me. And it scares me.
Yeah, sorry. Actually, that was much better than I thought I heard the first time. You don't want to be I want to be serious about the future, and you don't want to be like that, and it scares me. That's perfect. I have this thing, you're different, and you're allowed to be that way, and I'm this way, and it scares me that you're not like me. That's fine. That's great. If she could just stay in that zone, I trust him. Now, he might be in a mood right now, but previously, I think he has the ability to, in a healthy way, hear that and attune to that.
Okay. And he decided he didn't want to work his bartending job anymore. And he quit, and he said, next week we're going to Thailand. Do you think he had a flight planned or where we're staying planned or anything like that? No. Somehow I still magically believe he'll start planning things out and follow through with jobs and working towards our...
So I get it. As someone who is a planner myself, I have a computer screen dedicated to my to-do list. I have a whole computer screen with all of my to-do things. And so I'm a planner. I'm on my calendar, I write everything down. I'm like, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do that today. I'm going to react to this show today. And I'm a planner. So Tania, we're on the same page. But some people aren't like that. And so when you meet people like that and you want to marry them, you have to think they're different and they're never going to be like me. This idea of, well, I'll change him, is not always the best plan.
Future, and I pray that he does. Did you hear me when I said I'm sorry? I'm just scared. It's time to...
Yeah, I think he's in a mood, which isn't great. It's justified. I think he has every reason to be upset. I think he's passive-aggressively treatmenting her to... I think he doesn't, trust that she'll hear him, or he has a hard time being vulnerable, or I don't know. Or it's getting worse. The stress is starting to get to them. The conflict is getting worse. And he's starting to, because before he didn't do this. This is the first time we've seen him give silent treatment. So, but she's doing great. She's like, you know, hey, did you hear me when I apologized? And he's like, huh. So I don't know. Maybe he'll pull out of this.
Get a big reality check. I am just wondering, like, is he gonna get a job? And it's hard because he can't get a job. He can't prove to me. That's what's so hard about this 90 days.
Yeah, so it's good. She can recognize that, but she's still framing it like, he can't prove to me. Prove to you? Like, you're his, like, probation officer or something? But I don't know. But most of that's fine. She, you know, she shows a lot of promise that at times she can absolutely, in a healthy way, identify what's happening for her. I think when she gets triggered, she resorts to a certain style of overfunctioning and putting down people. But she definitely shows an ability to pull back from that. So I want to commend her for that, for sure.
Is I can't see his work ethic here. However, being realistic, like, he can't prove everything to me in these 90 days. He just can't. I love you.
I love you too, babe.
Sounds good. I love you. I love you too. So, you know, it shows that they can forgive, sort of. You know, so that's a good sign. I wonder if this is what they do a lot. They have like these flashes and then they make up pretty quickly. Maybe that's what will keep them together. But I know that they break up because Syngin on Single Life. But I see a lot of episodes of them on it. So maybe they have a good run, but then they break up. I don't know what happens.
Ever since I arrived here, there's a lot of ups and downs going on, you know, so I'm just tired of arguing and all this stress.
All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.